Let's talk about disarms. We need to differentiate a takeaway and a disarm. A takeaway is where I take the blade away from him. A disarm is where I just get rid of it. You have this one where you're applying sort of a gooseneck or a turning leaf or kotagayesh lock. The thumb is extended across the back of the hand. We're applying enough of a lock to loosen up his hand. And then, come a little closer, then the pad of my index finger is going to press right in on his index finger and replace his hand. So I push in on his finger, my hand takes his hand's place. I like to cut the fingers from here, or set the knife inside the inner elbow, fold the arm, and slice. So that's number one. Number two happens all the way around here. You can't get it here with a knife all the time. Every now and then, if it's a really long knife, you might be able to get it down there. The key to getting it down there is to be pulling on the thumb, on the pad of the thumb. You're going to have this opposing motion. So that's not a takeaway, that's just a disarm, right? You don't have a takeaway down here. It's just not going to happen. So push on that and pull. With a small knife, that won't work. You don't have the leverage to make it work. It just won't happen. With a small knife, you have to twist this further, all the way to here. And now you have a lock up here. And once again, my finger replaces his finger. Why? Because I don't want to just grab here, I'm going to cut myself. Right? I can't just grab it up here. So I've got to grab it where he's grabbing it. So my finger replaces his finger. I take it away, and then I can come in for a hit right here, where I can cut, hamstring, any of this. Puño, or the butt of the weapon, is sticking out of the bottom. You can turn the hand over, come in this way with the web of your hand, strip that out, and you'll end up in reverse grip. With a longer weapon, you have a few more options. Assuming this is a blade, right? A machete, short sword, super long knife, something like that. And you have more options because you have more leverage. So we still have, I'm not going to go for a takeaway here. It's just really awkward with a long weapon like this. With a long weapon like this, I really recommend disarms rather than takeaways. So your first disarm is actually right here. It's still a gooseneck. I'm still goosenecking his wrist, but it's kind of facing downward. And I use my arm and it goes right into him. And I hit him in the process. Second one, I turn it over a bit more. So now it's facing outward that way. And now I have my turning leaf lock. And again, I use my forearm on the flat of the blade and I send it over his shoulder. The third one is facing downward here like this. And you have this nice long lever. Again, I've got a hold of the pad of his thumb here and I'm pulling on it and just pushing at the same time. I put up a video recently where one of my students did this disarm and someone commented and said, I don't think I would let go of my weapon in that situation. That wouldn't make me let go. And I think that he was thinking that because my student Alan did a couple of hits and then did the disarm, and I think that the guy was thinking that the hits basically caused the person to just drop the weapon. That's not what it is. You don't really have a choice. If they have a good grip on the pad of your thumb and they have this leverage down here, you're losing that. You can't hold on to it. We have one where we wrap the arm. We're not going to wrap the weapon because it's a blade. With a stick, yes. With a stick, this is a fairly common disarm with the stick. You wrap the stick and you take it away. But with a blade, you can't do that. Instead, you need to wrap the arm. Now the blade is behind me. I'm going to turn around where you can see it. Right? So you wrap the arm, and then you lift up into the wrist to lock the wrist. Make him uncomfortable. If you need to, you can hit the arm as you turn away, strip that away. Sometimes if you're lucky, you can drop, it's trapped under my arm, you can drop it and catch it. If not, just let it fall. Same slide. So if you're here, you also have the puño on this one, but to get the puño on this one, you need to change hands. So this hand takes this one's place, and then you strip it out using the puño, because you can just grab the stick, right? So there's a lot of options where you can simply grab the stick and pull his hand one way and pull the stick another way. There are a lot of potential disarms with a stick. I was at a Danny Nosanto seminar once. I've been to a few of his. And he was talking about disarms, and he said that for the purpose of cataloging the disarms, they break this up into quadrants. So this is A, B, C, and D. And he said in quadrant A there are 64 disarms in A alone. So there's a lot of them, and I don't know them all. But with the blade, those are your disarms. Thanks very much. Please subscribe.